Hello friends, welcome you all to another video, and today we are going to start with the paper number 9, and we are going to start the last play, that is the Prometheus Bound, which was written by Aeschylus, who was the great Greek playwright, and he was the among the greatest of Sophocles and Euripides. So I don't want to give you any enough information about Achilles because we have seen it in the Greek theater. So you can watch that video, that is also available in my YouTube channel. So please visit that and read about the Achilles and the Greek uh, playwrights or Greek tragedies. Let's move on the characters of this play. So you can see these are the characters. Only 5 characters are there in this play, and there is another extra character, that is the chorus is there, which are the daughters of Oceanus. But I have not taken it included in the character list because it is the actually the integral part. Chorus is the integral part of the Greek tragedy. Without the chorus, the Greek tragedy cannot be happened. So therefore, I have not included here. It is excluded from it. So let's start with the characters. First is the Prometheus, who is the hero, who is the main protagonist of this play. So as I have told you that the Prometheus is the protagonist of the play, and he was added Zeus against his fellows Titan. Okay, so actually when Zeus he has fought with his father, and that time it was the Prometheus who is the only Titan who has helped Zeus to fight with the Titans, only to be punished for giving fire to human beings. Actually, Prometheus has given fire to human being, and therefore Zeus has punished him. So we are going to see it in detail. So Prometheus demonstrates the value of thought and knowledge in progress, as well as in the opposition and temperaments of tyrannical power. He is a rare example of Greek tragic hero whose faults, such as exclusive pride and stubbornness, enable him. Prometheus opposes Zeus because of his anger over his punishment, bolstered by his anger over the mistreatment of his brothers and Io. He is also driven to opposition by a belief in the value friendship. His friendship for humanity is the cause of his punishment, but he views as equally important Zeus' inability to recognize the importance of friendship. Prometheus shows that if intellect and force cannot work together, then intellect must oppose force, since it is useless if dominated by power. Next character is Zeus, who is the antagonist of this play. So Zeus is actually the king of all the gods. Though he does not appear in the play, Zeus clearly deserves mention as a major character. He rules by his own laws, creating a world where no one but him can be free. Both the objects of his hatred and his love can easily fall to misfortune, since Zeus, unfamiliar with sympathy and pity, does not concern himself with the welfare of others. Unable to rule through any means other than brute force, Zeus is presented as a perfect example of a very stupid but powerful tyrant who shows no regard for others, not because he is evil, but because he hasn't given it any thought. Zeus' servants take it for granted that everyone must be taught to love him and hate his enemies. Zeus' rules demand that his servants surrender any trace of individuality in obedience to his will. Next character is Hermes. Hermes, a mindless servant of Zeus. Hermes appears in sharp contrast to Prometheus. Like his master, Hermes understands neither friendship nor pity, but only force and obedience. Hermes is certain that he is on the right side, and certain also that his master is all powerful. Though he comes down from Olympus to question Prometheus about the future threat to Zeus' power, Hermes clearly does not take this threat seriously. He is highly arrogant, but not horribly bright, as illustrated in a scene where every insult and accusation he throws at Prometheus gets turned around by the recipient and shipped back in force. So Lo Io is another character. Okay, Io, which I have not included here. She actually transformed into the cow. So that is also character in this play. So kindly note it, that also Chorus and Io. So Io, a victim of Zeus' love. Io is exiled from her home because Zeus wishes to devour her, transformed into a cow. She wanders the earth awaiting salvation. Io is seen as a parallel to Prometheus. Though she suffers, in the end she will be freed and rewarded. Her descendant will free Prometheus, binding their heads together. Fates together. As the only human, despite being technically bovine in the play, Io tries the cosmic conflict of gods to know human history and geography as Prometheus documents her wanderings and the future of her offspring. Another character which I have not included here also, that is the Oceanids. Oceanid, that is the chorus which I have not included here, so you just kindly point it out. Oceanids, that is the chorus. So these Oceanids serve the proper role of chorus in Greek tragedy. The Oceanids advocate adherence to the moral norms to a protagonist who has divided from the norm. Until the end, the Oceanids maintain two moral orientation. First, they consistently demonstrate sympathy with the hero's suffering and owe their friendship. Second, they counsel him to bow down to greater power and tone down his defenses, since nothing good can come of opposing Zeus. By deviating from the moral norm to end, however, the Oceanids manage to establish a new moral norm and contradicts Zeus' own laws. Another character is Oceanus, who is the father of Oceanites, or we can say that the Samudra Dev. So he is compatible in his service to Zeus. Oceanus believes that one should not rock the boat but simply obey. He agrees that Zeus is too harsh and extends his sympathy to Prometheus with an offer of help. Sometimes about Oceanus' advice and his demeanor seems a little off-putting. However, first, he suggests that one should simply give up and accept injustice rather than fighting it. Prometheus clearly does not trust Oceanus, provoke a stubborn and exclusive Zeus. Second, Prometheus clearly does not trust Oceanus, telling him much less than he had told to Chorus only a moment ago. Oceanus, while counseling his friend and expressing sympathy, seems to be waiting to leave the entire time. He does not get off his winged animal and stated that it is eager to fly home, as if his visit to Prometheus was only to core on a long list. Last character, that is the Hephaestus. Hephaestus. Like Oceanus, Hephaestus is an obedient but unwilling servant. He bows to Zeus' force, but wishes he did not have to. Hephaestus first introduces pity and friendship into the tragedy while chiding Zeus' servants for their insensitivity. 8. Hephaestus does what he is told, showing him to be closer to Kratos than to Prometheus in his outlook. Hephaestus, however, seems to obey more out of fear than out of complete identification with his ruler, which seems more than the case with the Kratos and Hermes. So next character which I have not included, that is the Kratos. I really express an apology. Kratus, Kratos. So it is another character, and by BIA is another character. Okay, so Kratos simply accept Zeus order completely. Zeus justice for Kratos is only to possible justice. Kratos cannot understand how someone might fail to hate an enemy of Zeus. He shows an absolute identification of slave with his master, taking Zeus' thought as thoughts and Zeus' order as his maxim. Unlike Hephaestus and Oceanus, Kratos experiences no friendship or pity because he has no value system outside the one imposed on him by Zeus. The name Kratos means force, so as a representative of Zeus. This character demonstrates the nature of Zeus' rule. And the last character which I have told you, that is Baya, BIA. So Bai's name means violence, representing the nature of Zeus' power. Baya is a silent character helping Kratos bring Prometheus to the rock to be chained. We can assume that what hold for Kratos hold for also for Baya. So I express that there are four character I have not included here. One is the Io, second one is the Oceanites, that is Chorus. Third one is Kratos, Kratus, and the fourth one is the BIA. So let's start with the summary of this play. And today's lecture, I'm going to only talk about line number one. and line number 1 to line number 127. So Kratos and Baia carry Prometheus to a mountain in a Caucasus. Hephaestus follows them. Kratos explains that this is where Prometheus must be chained to a rock on the orders of Zeus in punishment for giving fire to human beings. Prometheus is expected to learn to like Zeus and stop liking humans. Hephaestus, whose job is to be bind Prometheus to the mountain, groans that he finds it difficult to do this a fellow god. He explains, however, that he has no choice but to obey Zeus. Prometheus must be punished for stealing fire from the gods and unjustly giving it to mortals human being. He will remain there for a long time because his liberator has not been born yet. His liberator is actually Hercules. Hephaestus mentioned that Prometheus will be unable to soften Zeus' heart for a long time since Zeus is harsh like all new rulers. Kratos urges Hephaestus on, asking why Hephaestus does not hate the enemy of the gods. Hephaestus explained that friendship binds them, but Kratos replied that the word of Zeus should have the most weight. Hephaestus mourns that as the blacksmith he has been given this task and accuses Kratos of being heartless and ruthless. Kratos replied that this task and uh, Kratos replied that the punishment has nothing to do with Hephaestus' talent as blacksmith, but that Prometheus alone brought it on himself. There is no point in pity or rectalence, since the punishment must be carried out regardless. One should be afraid of disobeying Zeus, and questioning Zeus' orders in is dangerous. Once Hephaestus has finished attaching the wounds, Kratos tells Prometheus that he was foolish to help mortals because now they cannot help him. Hephaestus, Cartus, and Beelzebub. Prometheus was alone there, and he calls upon the forces of nature to witness his torture to the hands of his fellow gods, particularly at the hands of Zeus, the new ruler. Prometheus questions how long he will remain bound to the mountain, but quickly corrects himself, remembering that he already knows everything that will happen. Nothing that can happen will be new to him. So he must find the best way to deal with his fate, since no one can fight against the destiny. Prometheus again repeats what Hephaestus has already said. He is being punished for stealing fire from the gods and giving it to human beings, who have learned all the arts from it. Suddenly, the sound of wings approaches, and Prometheus asks what this sound is, exclaiming that he fears everything that comes his way. So, guys, here we should stop, and we will see in the next lecture with the next summary, that is line number 128 to 2084, and again another lines. So, and we are going to finish this play within 2 or 3 lectures only. So thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture.